Hello and welcome to Lina Knits, my podcast about knitting. This is episode 53 and I'm so glad that you're here. You can find me as Lina Knits on most places online. On Ravelry, my username is Lina Finn and I sell my patterns there under my full name, Pauliina Karru. I also have a website, that's linaknits.com, and there you can find all you need to know about my fiber business and also subscribe to my newsletter. Today I have finished objects, whips, and happy mail to share with you. So let's start with the finished objects since it's been quite a while since I last had any. At least it feels like that. And today I have not one but two finished objects. So the first one is the pair of leg warmers. Now this is, if you watched the previous episode, I started these leg warmers with another yarn that I accidentally burned in the oven. I'll get back to that oven thing a little later, but it just didn't feel right. I wasn't feeling joy when I was knitting those. So off they went. I don't know why it took me so long this time to realize that it wasn't bringing me joy. I shouldn't be doing it with that yarn. So all the burnt bits are now gone. I have about 30 grams of each ball left, so 20 was ruined. 20 grams was ruined. Our short mitts will probably be what they will turn into. But I really wanted those leg warmers, and I specifically wanted leg warmers, like long ones, to warm my leg because I do yoga here at home sometimes when it's really cold and you're not doing where you're doing like a yin type yoga where you hold poses for a long time. I start to feel cold in just my yoga leggings. Also I go running even in the winter, not when it's really cold, but still. And although I do have winter running tights and those are amazingly warm, but still I like to have something extra on my lower legs, just so that my ankle and the joints there aren't too cold and I don't injure myself. And also at home I wear quite a bit of dresses and leggings, so again on a cold day just wool socks leave me feeling a bit cold, so I wanted actual leg warmers and not like boot toppers for the look of leg warmers. Right, so this is what I knit. I couldn't find a pattern I liked and I started experimenting, and these two are like a really long really large swatch, and these are not perfect as a design. They're perfect for my needs for leg warmers right now, so I'm really happy to have this finished. But I know when I want to change, and I will probably knit up another pair and write a pattern for these for next autumn. But yes, so they don't have any increases or decreases, they're just long tubes that really like hug the legs so they stay up. Did a bit of lace on the ribbing, small cables. Yeah, and this is, the yarn is sport weight yarn by Inaya Creations, who's a finished dyer who sells on Etsy. Now I don't have the tag or the ball band for these anymore. These have been in my stash for probably like 5 years, so I'm really happy to have knit these into something that I can now use. But yes, so these will go into immediate use now that I've shown them here. It's really cold here. This morning it was minus 22 degrees Celsius. That's the coldest it's been a whole winter. But it's wonderfully sunny, so we're at that stage where there's a lot of light, but it's still quite cold. Yeah. Oh, and what I'm wearing. Last episode I was wearing my Leslie pullover by Hannah Feddick that I knit out of Hedgehog Fibers Merino Aran in the teacup colorway. I forgot to mention that, and a lot of people commented and asked, so I thought I would just quickly say it here. And today I'm wearing my Tolmi sweater by Josie Paquin, and this is knit out of the Rerum Naturas Gilead, and I believe it's the granite colorway. And this is like one of my favorite sweaters. I wear this all the time and still looking really good. It's cozy, it looks good in my opinion, and it's really warm. So it goes with skirts and jeans, whatever you want to wear. Alright, onto my other whip. Or no, other FO I mean. I finished my Get Cozy socks. Now these are still a bit damp. I finished these last night and I couldn't wait to blog them. So if they look a bit odd, that's why. The pattern is my own pattern, Get Cozy, that I decided to knit again. This is the first one that I knit, and this was knit mostly when I was on public transport or in waiting rooms. And this one, from the heel to the toe, I knit yesterday, and I guess I was feeling very relaxed since my gauge is even looser than normal, so it looks a bit larger than the other one. It could also be that it's still wet and therefore sagging a bit more. Yes, so these actually knit up really quickly, even though this is, I think, the third episode that I'm showing this. So yesterday evening I'd finished the leg portion, and I did the heel and the entire foot and toe during 2 episodes of Pull Dark. So they really do knit up quickly. I'm looking for the project bag so I can show you the yarn information. So the yarn that I use is by Gnome Acres. It is their DK Bedazzle Gnome Base, which is their DK weight silk yarn, 75% merino and 20% nylon and 5% sparkle power. And the colorway is called Winter Wonderland. And I've mentioned it before, but the sparkle is really, it's quite different than what I've usually seen. So it's definitely all over. It's very sparkly, but still it's more subtle. So it's really, the fiber is really thin, the sparkle fiber. I don't know if it's showing up on camera at all. Right. So finished 2 objects. I'm feeling really happy about it. And I have a cough, so my voice is again a bit odd. I don't know what it is. Last winter I wasn't sick at all, I think, and I just had that really annoying sore throat type of cold, and now it's sore again and my voice is breaking. But no fever, no flu, I don't know. I did go to a doctor during my previous bout of sore throat, and they had all sorts of labs done and there was nothing wrong. So it's just the virus that's bugging me. This one might have been caused by me running outside in too cold weather and breathing via my mouth. So the cold air just hit my throat. Okay, then whips. Let's go with what I started most recently, just so that I don't jump all over the place. Which reminds me that I said I would talk about the oven, but yeah, I don't think putting your yarn in the oven to get rid of possible bugs is a common method. It's definitely not common here in Finland. I don't know anyone else who does it. Well, personally, I did read about it in a Ravelry group, in a Finnish Ravelry group, so someone does it here. And no, I haven't had any problems with any bugs, but I keep all of my yarn in one big cupboard. And one day it just hit me that if something were to get in there, the damage would be quite bad. So I'm trying to be cautious. But I admit that lately I've started to slack a bit on that, and I just shove yarn in there. And having just burned that lovely yarn, I think I'm even more reluctant to do it now. So I guess I should say that I used to put all my new yarn in the oven. And I realized the last time I just said 100 degrees, I meant 100 degrees Celsius. I don't think it's, yeah, Fahrenheit, 100 degrees of Fahrenheit is less than 100 degrees Celsius, so I don't think I've caused anyone to burn their yarn. But if it goes above the 100, the yarn burns. So usually I think around 90 is what I put it in. But if it's too little, then it doesn't do anything for the bugs. Another method that I know more people who do it is to put the yarn in the freezer. But you need to do that for like 1 or 2 weeks. So it takes a longer. When in the oven it's just 1 hour, in the freezer 1 or 2 weeks. So that's why I never started to do that. Plus our freezer is quite small. It's just like the bottom part of our fridge. It's our freezer, and it's usually filled with food. So anyway, but I might consider doing that if I want to be cautious. I guess it's quite rare for something to happen, but I do have quite a lot of yarn, so and yarn that I love. Anyway, back to the knitting. So since it is really cold, I decided it's finally time to cast on for that mohair and fingering weight yarn shawl that I was talking about. Some episodes ago I showed you that I traded some of my yarn that wasn't speaking to me anymore to 4 skeins of this super kit mohair, silk mohair blend yarn by Lina Knits. Silk hair, I think it's called, yeah. And it was too little for a sweater with mohair and wool held together, so I wanted to do a shawl. But I kept hemming and hawing over what pattern to use. So now that it's really like the weather where you're supposed to wear the shawl, I decided to knit it. Probably by the time this is finished, it's already warmer, but doesn't matter, it's ready for next winter. But I decided to go with the pattern that actually sparked my desire for a mohair and wool shawl, which is Solace by Janina Kallio or Woolenberry. And I actually knit the sample for the new or the updated version of Solace, which has the mohair and wool in it. And I really love knitting that, and I love the finished object. So I wanted to knit one for myself, but since I rarely knit the same pattern twice, I was trying to look for another pattern to do. But then realized I don't mind knitting the same pattern again. It was relaxing, it was quick, so I'm just going to do it. So this is what I've got. Not a lot, just the first color block and the first stripe done. And right, so this is the mohair that I'm using, and this is one of the colors, and the other color is this. So they're quite bright, or this is quite bright, and I think this will just marl them really nicely. And what they are, the purple is it's folded strangely. So this is Fiddle Knits Fibers polka base in the amethyst colorway, and this one is Old Maiden Aunt's Merino Foreplay in the Twig colorway. And these again are yarns that I've had for quite a while. These I started Hohi's starting point, Mr. Knit Along. These were in it, but now that I've frogged that, they are repurposed into another shawl. And I feel I must say that at this point, for the sake of transparency, that in addition to having knit the sample for solids for Woolenberry, I also do other work for them. So let's see if I can get through this without too many breaks for coughing. Anyway, really enjoying this little start. Who knows, maybe I'll be done sooner than I think. I don't know, because there is that other width that I'm really wanting to knit on and enjoying knitting on, and that is, I'm sure if you watched the previous episodes you knew, it is a giant bag. It is my winter sweater by Jennifer Steingas, and this is what mine looks like now. Yeah, so the yoke is done, and I moved on down to the body. I've got it now onto circular needles because I was trying it on, and yeah, this is the third largest size. No, the third size, but I measured my gauge and it's actually a bit smaller than what the pattern calls for, so it's somewhere between the second and third, probably size-wise. And yeah, now I've just finished the first ball of the main color, so next I'm going to do the sleeves, because I hate sleeves that are too short, so I want to knit the sleeves so that I definitely have enough yarn for them, and then knit the body as long as the yarn allows, or until I reach a length that I'm happy with. I'm knitting this with Maria of the Tuscan Knits Yarn and Tuscan Knits podcast, and this is our Edinburgh Yarn Festival sweater. Now it's now, today is Thursday, so it's about 3 weeks before I leave for Edinburgh, and I think I'm well on my way there, finishing this on time. I'm doing the body without increases and decreases, so no shaping, just a straight body, because I want this to be sort of a loose, comfy sweater. Right, so this is my main color, the Rerum Neteris Juliet. So this is the same yarn that I used to knit this sweater. And the main color is called Seal. And my two contrasting colors are here. They are, no, the paler one is Poivre Blanc, and The darker one is and here are the tags. Yeah. And I've got 2 more balls of the main color. I'm assuming the sleeves will take about a bit over 1, but the sleeves do have this color as well. This sweater that I'm wearing was knit using 4 balls, so in total for this winter stool I have 5, so it should be enough. Really loving this, and I can't wait to block it so that the color work is settled down into a more even. I'm just really happy with this. And I think the fit is nice. It's not too roomy on the yoke part, but it'll have some positive ease on the body part like this one does. Right, so that's what I'm knitting for Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And speaking of the festival, I'm now fairly confident in saying that I will be at the marketplace and at the podcast lounge and the Meet the Podcaster event there on Thursday and on Friday. So that's the 15th and the 16th of March, if I've got my calendar correct. And I would really love to meet you there. So if you see me, do come and say hi. I'm shy but quite friendly. And tying in with the EYF, because I am one of the official podcasters there, Blacker Yarns contacted me and asked if I wanted to sample their new yarn, and of course I said yes. And I received the package yesterday. And the yarn that they sent me is one of their breeds yarns. It's a breed specific yarn. It's for the Jacob sheep. Now I'm just going to read a bit from the ball bound. The striking 2-colored coats of Jacob sheep inspired us to create this unique yarn with 4 distinct bases using the natural fleece colors. So the sheep naturally has two colors in their wool, and these are the undyed, 2 of the undyed bases. So you can see that they have one place white, one is brown. This one has brown and a slightly paler brown. They did send me the shade cards, or the shade card. Now the ones I have are basalt and granite, the two darkest ones in the 4-ply. All the undyed are available in 4-ply and DK. And mine are, let me see, yeah, mine are the 4-ply. And I measured these. These are a bit over 25 grams, so half a ball of each. And I'm really tempted to find something useful actually to knit these into a not just a large swatch. The yarn it feels really wonderful. It feels like sheepy, but surprisingly soft, and the smell, it's just the perfect sheep smell. Not too strong. And I'm really looking forward to knitting with this marled yarn. It'll be kind of like the same effect that I'm having on the Solace with the 2 strands, but just in a single one. And I think these 2 might have a nice bit of contrast for some color work. And I believe this yarn would be well suited for color work. It does have that bit of tooth in it, but it's not scratchy, so I could see it can see this in shawls as well. So it comes in 4-ply and DK, and the DK has these really nice purple shades, and the 4-ply these lovely muted greens. So I'm really looking forward to knitting with this, and I will let you know and show you what I come up with, and let you know my opinion of the yarn. But like my first impression was love it. So, but these arrived yesterday, so I really haven't had time to knit with it yet. But I wanted to share because it was so exciting. I've had happy mail another time this week as well. Pom Pom arrived, and I'm always really happy to receive this. It's just such a pretty magazine, and I love the articles, and the patterns are usually, there's always something I want to stitch. There's always something I want to knit. What's wrong with me? I really quite like the cover sweater. It's called Durumi, and it's by Isabel Kramer. I guess I'm into yelled sweaters, but this one I quite like the simplicity of it. Another pattern that I really quite like is this Deep Romania t-shirt, but I think it could be easily adjusted to long sleeves as well. So something for the warmer weather maybe. I really like the simplicity of that one as well. So this issue, again, it didn't disappoint. And then yesterday I also got the 4th issue of Lina. This is the latest issue, Chest Out. And again, I worked with them on this issue, and I just love browsing through this. This is just a stunningly beautiful magazine. Jonna and Sinin take such beautiful photos. And there's again plenty that I want to knit, but I think this one is worth pointing out. This is the Morgan sweater by Katrin Schneider. Again, I've mentioned before in the episodes that I'm really looking for a cozy large cardigan to knit to replace an old trusted favorite, and I think this is definitely cozy and the size that I'm looking for. Now I've already decided that for yarn I'm using, I'm going to frog a poncho that I've knit some years ago and haven't used in the past 2 years at least. So I'm going to use that one to knit the cardigan. But since this is fisherman's rib, I think the yardage that this uses is a lot more than what I have. So I will need to think about that. So before I say goodbye, I thought I would briefly talk about my business. If you're not interested in that, thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you soon again. But if you want to stick around for a couple of minutes longer, you're welcome to. I wanted to share these. I had my logo made by a graphic designer, and then I just used a simple service for sort of the drag and drop service for the business cards. So this is for the knitting side of my business, so my patterns, my designs, and tech editing, and what other services I offer designers. Since I do quite different things, it just says tech editing and other services, which isn't maybe the most elegant way to put it, but it was concise. And the same graphic designer is now working on creating a layout for my patterns, so soon those will look really pretty too, I hope, or that's the goal. But yeah, I'm just really happy of having my very own business cards. I know I've had business cards when I worked for companies before, but this is really like me and mine, and I have my own logo, and that's just amazing. Creating that logo was quite intense. It was, I guess, in that way that I was afraid of choosing the wrong thing. So that's what's been happening sort of behind the scenes at Lina Knits. I have another pattern coming out next week for a DK weight shawl. I'm really happy about that. It's a textured shawl. You will see it next week. And then I have another sample that's just a few rounds short of being finished, and I can start writing the pattern and asking for test knitters. Now, if you are interested in test knitting for me, keep an eye out on my Ravelry group, which is where I host the test knits. I always announce the test knits on Instagram as well, but you know, because of how Instagram is, you might miss that. So keeping an eye out on the Ravelry group is like the best way of knowing. And I'm also thinking that I would start announcing them on my newsletter. So alright, so that's everything for this week. Thank you for watching, and keep in touch in the comments on Instagram, in the Ravelry group, via email. I love hearing from you, and I hope to see some of you at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. There is going to be one more podcast episode before that, so this isn't the last one before that, but my mind is already there, so I keep mentioning it all the time. I'm sorry. Right. Thank you, and bye. Happy knitting.